Victims participating in this case suffer serious mental and physical harms as a result of the attacks perpetrated in Pajule, Odek, Abok, and Lukodi IDP camps. They were also subject to various forms of violence, including persecution, and those forced to flee their homes. The majority of them lost at least one or more of their family members. Their properties were pillaged and destroyed. Women and girls were either raped or subject to other sexual and gender-based violence. As a result of rapes, some of them contracted sexually transmitted disease. Others got pregnant and gave birth to children who are in turn stigmatized in their communities. Boys and girls were abducted and forced to become soldiers. Why victims want to participate at trial? Which are the expectations of victims at the start of a trial?
When I think about justice, I mean that I want the truth about the events I suffered from, and like me, many others in Uganda. We want the truth to be established so that we may be satisfied. I want the court to work well with one heart and this case to end in a just manner. I trust the court to dispense justice for us survivors.
I am 69 years old. When the LRA attacked the camp, 3 of my children were killed. I was severely beaten, and 80 of my cows were taken. For this reason, I want my voice to be heard before the court. The court should know that I need justice and reparations for my children who were killed. My mother, my brother, and my sister were killed at the time of the attack. At the time, I was attending school. I wanted to study to assist my country, but I had to stop my studies because of the war. Since my mother was killed, I had to take care of the family. The court should know what really happened to the people here in northern Uganda, so that the judges will be able to make a just judgment, and if the perpetrator is guilty, then compensation to the victims could be paid. It cannot be impunity. Nobody is above the law.
My husband was abducted and killed. My house was burned and my property looted. I have problems in paying school fees for my children and in providing them with proper food. We need assistance. In my thinking, the court should make some reparations for us. If justice is done, this will help in avoiding other crimes to be committed again. The sufferings I went through were enormous. Life is hard now. I was abducted as a young girl and forced to become a rebel's wife. When I was back from the bush, I found out that my parents were dead. Every time I mention what happened to me, I feel the trauma and the bad images come back. Even now, I have difficulties with my children in the community. I wish I could live for another place so that I can live in peace with my children. Here, I'm stigmatized because people do not completely forgive us and keep pointing out at us as the ones who are in the LRA. The sufferings I went through can never be compensated, but the court should make us feel that justice is done. so that we can live knowing that justice exists.
When the LRA attacked the camp, I was 7. They took my uncle, who was taking care of me, and he never returned. So I have been left alone. I think that the court should help us in reconstructing our lives.
On 19th May 2004, the LRA attacked the camp. My children were killed. I saw it and it was very painful. God willing, the person who did this to us should face justice. I have trust in the court to support us and understand what happened to us. I wish to participate in the proceedings before the court to tell what happened to me and many of my friends and neighbors when the camp was attacked. My grandchild was killed with no pity. The houses were pillaged and burned. One of my sons disappeared, and I have no news about him since. I have no doubt that the court will dispense justice, but justice alone will not suffice to restore our lives. We also need assistance to be able to give a future to our children. Coming back from the market, I heard gunshots and I saw houses put on fire. There were a lot of dead people on the ground. My daughter, who was 6 years old, was abducted. My mother was seriously beaten. I trust the court because otherwise, how we could still hope that justice will be done. I want my voice to be heard because I suffered a lot. At the time of the attack, my child, who was only 3 months old, was killed. They threw her against a banana plant. My house was looted and I had to carry my goods for the rebels. The court should help me get justice. The person who committed the crime should face judgment so that the truth will be known. I was at the market near the mango tree when the attack began. I went back home to check for my 1-year-old child. Because of the gunshots, I had to flee, leaving my family behind. It was the most painful experience of my life. For this, I want justice. I want to see the perpetrator punished. I was returning from collecting water when I saw smoke and heard gunshots. I ran home where I found that one of my children had been killed and some members of my family abducted. I do not think that there is any way of repairing what happened to me and the other people in the camp. Only justice could make us feel alive again, knowing that the person who did the wrong will be recognized guilty and will pay for the sufferings caused. Many people were killed, many were abducted, and others never came back. Young girls were abducted and they came back with children. Children were murdered. I believe my voice will ensure that justice is done and it will help me to forget the sufferings I went through. The court should dispense justice. I want the truth, something that can give hope to the people. If there is justice and people are satisfied with the whole process, it will be good. I lost 2 of my children. My mother was abducted and my house was destroyed and pillaged. I trust the court will help us in finding who committed the crime. This will help us in forgetting the sufferings we went through and alleviate the wounds we have in our hearts. Justice must prevail. God will ensure that justice will prevail.
Victims have been waiting for these proceedings to start for 11 years. They hope to contribute to the search for the truth about the events at the origin of their victimization and to have their voice heard throughout the proceedings. They expect an independent, impartial, transparent, and efficient justice, capable of addressing their sufferings.